I'm Carmiece Graves, and I practice family law in the Washington, D.C. area.
One of the questions we have to think about, like say if you're married and you're dealing with your house and you own it together, the question is, well, we have an answer that we need to deal with. Sunset, they just abandoned it and come back, they've been gone. They've been gone, they ain't seen nobody, so this is over. Like this, man, you just can't leave. Not true. Okay, they're gonna call me. Are there people throughout history that despite whatever circumstances, they did what they wanted to do? Welcome. It's me. It's live. It's attorney Carmiece CT Graves. And this is my 2021 Giving Thanks edition. Woo! We are deep in 2021. I have been missing. I know you guys have been wondering, when is Carmiece going to post another video? Or probably not. You probably were not thinking that, but I missed posting videos for you all. So even though I am in the full swing of Thanksgiving, spending time with my family, doing the holiday thing, I wanted to jump on and show appreciation. I love this time of year. I take it as an opportunity to stop and give thanks. It's my giving thanks. So I'm going to get right to that. But I always want to leave you with a gem, with a tip. This is holiday season. This is the hot season for family law, okay? I don't know and care what the media is telling you, how perfect your family holiday is supposed to be. These are some hot times where people are coming together and we want to make it to the other side. And I can just offer just some landmines that you might want to avoid or think about or have a plan to deal with. Maybe some tips for co-parenting during the holidays, just to kind of bring it down a bit, because I feel like this is a hot button time for people because the standard for how you're supposed to feel is heightened because it's the perfect holiday time for family love and cheer. And then you get into your life and it does not feel like this super high standard. And sometimes that alone causes a lot of emotional unrest and distress, and sometimes really puts a lot of pressure on the family. And that's my area. So hopefully I can leave you with a tip, but I want to start off with appreciations. I have had a fantastic year of being able to build capacity in my business to help, more people and provide better service and do more to get people through difficult situations regarding very personal matters of family law relating to your children, your intimate relationships. And it's something that, I don't know, I've been called to do because it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's a jolly ride, but it definitely is one that I'm honored that so many of you this year have chosen my firm to guide you through. You've researched me, you have invested in the fact that for a number of reasons, my background, maybe my HBCU, maybe I look like you, maybe you just want a Black woman to lead the way, you looked at credentials, whatever the reason was, I'm so appreciative that you chose my law firm to represent you. Also, I want to give thanks for all of my referral sources, all of my colleagues that send me referrals. Thank you so much for trusting in me to make sure that I uphold your reputation on the referral that you give me, so I don't take that for granted. And I just give thanks for life, for me being here another day, being able to be blessed to have this opportunity to have learned what I've learned and to provide some value where I can and any tips that I can offer. So with that, this will be an addition going through the holiday season. The Carmiece Graves Law Firm has been moving. We've relocated. So there's been a lot of things going on, more announcements and expansions. We're building the firm. So just right now, if you know of an associate, a lawyer, we're expanding our legal team. We're looking for a paralegal. We're looking for a full-time associate. So if you know anybody in the DMV area that's licensed to practice law in around Maryland and DC, please have them send their resume to jobs at ctgravelaw.com. I'll put that in the comments, in the description. So with that, the tips. So it's not going to be a long video because I just want to say hi. I have not been on for a while, and I just wanted to get back in the swing because this is, again, when my area of the law heats up. This is where protective orders happen. This is where, people play games with holiday schedules, or it's just a sad, sucky time because you're going through a separation and or divorce. So I didn't put this in the description, but maybe I'll modify the description because a lot of times I don't know exactly what I'm going to talk about until we start. I just know I'm going to get on and I'm going to pray about it, and whatever comes out my being, this is what it was about. So I think I want to talk about holiday schedules, working with that. I mean, custody issues alone really are kind of like a thorn in my side. I don't like them. It's usually not about children. It's about parents not having the emotional maturity that they need to work together beyond their relationship to foster and raise children together. And a lot of times those issues are beyond what anyone can really manage with a court order, without spending a lot of money on it, and it's usually just not the most effective way. So to me, really come to some peace with your co-parent, really working on coming to some peace and being able to resolve and let go of whatever didn't work in the relationship so that you can, and sometimes that's harder said than done. I didn't say it was easy. I'm just saying really necessary for children, because I love to see children that get to benefit from both their parents in together sometimes, because the parents have been able to work past that. Now, let's talk about, so to me, custody is more about the parents being able to work through it. And it's, I don't know what happened. We all are going through relationships, and we all have that, obligation to love ourselves such that we do forgiveness work. So we're no longer suffering from past relationships and decisions, and we're able to move forward, right? So I really encourage, if there's a big custody breakdown between the parents on both sides, either side, nobody's an angel, nobody's perfect, everybody are human beings trying to come together. And when it doesn't work, how people respond to it is very different. I do have sad cases of people, dads wanting to come into the fold, be fathers and be blocked. That's not a myth. That does happen. So all I can say, the best tip and advice might be to make sure you're looking at these characteristics and these behaviors on the front end, but we are where we are, right? Now, in terms of like protective orders, this is a hot one. And this is the one we're going to talk about today, because I'm getting a lot of calls from people whereby this is the scenario where the relationship is tattered, it's rattled, it's done, right? But nobody's moved. Everybody's, still in the house, right? Everybody's calling me saying, Ms. Graves, this relationship over. I want a divorce. I'm like, well, did you separate? They're like, no. I'm like, so who's going to move? Not me. I'm like, well, the law, and I'm going to answer this again because I get a lot of calls on this right now, because I think COVID has changed the willingness to move and relocate. We were in lockdown, we're still kind of, we've been on lockdown. So that natural tendency to relocate and move has been highly dampened by COVID. So I have a lot of people wanting to leave relationships, but just not wanting to leave the house and asking, what can we do? Well, that's an issue. That's a problem. And maybe because of COVID, the law, the divorce statute will continue to evolve to help accommodate this, because where we left the law is like this. Okay. First, it started off where you got to come and prove to the court that there's a good reason for you to get out of this marriage. They beat you, they cheated, they're freaky, they're crazy, or they just left and didn't come back for a number of months. I need to move on. But you had to make a case. You couldn't just say, I want out, right? Then the law said, look, that's a little antiquated. If people want out, who are we to judge if they want out? They want out, they want out, right? So then they said, well, then you need to live separate and apart for a year, okay? And they said, okay, that's fine. So we're not going to get into the mucky, yucky, who done it, you know what I mean? And put that all on a public stage and a public record and spend a lot of time. We're going to shortcut it. 1 year separation, fine. Prove that you guys haven't been, living together, husband and wife, haven't had any marital relations, and we'll let you out. But then people said, you know what? No, no, no. Moving out is too much. Who can afford to be in two separate houses? And we have to hold this mortgage down. It's a joint mortgage. We have a house together, and neither one of us can afford the mortgage on our own. And we would, have a ding on our credit or lose the property. So we can't afford to move, but we still should get a divorce. The court said, okay, at least in Maryland said, okay, fine. If you come up with, and this is the most recent iteration of this, is the mutual consent divorce, saying, okay, fine, if you guys, don't want to separate, but don't want to really go through a nasty drag out fight to talk about who's wrong and whatever, what we'll do is we'll say, if you come up with a written agreement and decide everything, the 5 areas, the grounds would be mutual consent, right? And then you have to deal with if you have children, child support, custody, if you have property, and then alimony, and meaning make a decision. You could waive it all, but you're going to have to write something down that addresses all of them, right? And you're going to have to do that work. This is the perfect scenario for people who somehow maybe they have been living under the same dwelling and they're just over it. Emotionally, they're just over it. That's who it's for. Emotionally, they are good with this. They're at peace with this. They want this. It's the best economic way forward. You're on the same page. Everybody's ready to go their separate ways. They'll sell the house. They'll split it. Someone will buy someone out. All these decisions have been made, and you write it down and you get a quickie divorce. Perfect. Great. Now, the part of that's really critical that now is missing is that the people get along. They're amicable. They made a whole bunch of big decisions together and was able to say, yeah, we're okay. You want to share custody? Okay, you're going to see Tuesday, Thursday, every other week. Child support's going to be this amount. Made a lot of big decisions without any intervention needed by the court. And that's why you get to go through that door very quickly and efficiently. It is work, but it's a lot less than going through a contested trial. Now, second, here we are now with COVID. What COVID has caused is that now people want that, but they don't get along. So we don't have, you can't do it. You're not amicable. You don't want to leave. You don't want to fight. And now the law has not advanced really to the stage where it has a window forward for you, because people then, they ask me for this. And the law does not really have a direct answer. So here's one of the things I want everyone to watch out for, because there's a lot of people right now having to make decisions about a separation. What is the true exit strategy forward? How are you going to manage, expenses and things in the house, the mortgage, who has the money, who's most, just a lot of decisions have to be made. But the key thing is people are still coexisting in the house where it's pretty toxic and it's not friendly. And now we're getting into this holiday season. In the backdrop, you got this heightened circumstance, heightened standard of love and cheer, and you're kind of coexisting with a mate trying to plan your exit strategy, to kind of get out of this thing. So I want you in those scenarios to be really on guard about your triggers and have a way to get yourself back right. You can be triggered. We're humans. It happens to me. Tell you that all day. But I do have a plan to get myself off of it, get myself back in a healthy space, and be on guard, because if someone wants you out, this is where those bogus protective order claims come from. Watch out for that. So you're in a real heightened scenario at home with someone. And I just sometimes think that's why the separation and the cooling off period exists, because things have hit an all-time low and maybe there's a lot of fighting. So I would say really watch it, be careful in terms of any physical altercations, because that can be the thing that gets you ejected out of the house. And there you have it, so a lot of times what happens is people are living together. Nobody wants to move. It's kind of a standoff. And if the personalities exist and, someone's explosive in nature, it could happen. People are home, people are off from work. It's, and you're shut in. So that is a landmine for a protective order, which then could have someone lose possession of the house and have to live elsewhere. So if you're kind of in that heightened scenario, I think it's worth doing a consultation to make sure if it's, that you've thought about it, you could say, hell no, I won't go. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just, if it's at that time, you want to start to kind of think, okay, strategically, what are my next steps? What are my true options? What can we work out to kind of land this thing as softly as possible? It's already is what it is. It's already not a good scenario. So kind of trying to find some peace and ease along the way is really the nicest thing that you can offer to yourself and others. Not easy, but nonetheless. So I wanted to kind of have you be on alert for that, because that comes up a lot. And then, in terms of the need for custody arrangements, I just, encourage people to just, if there's a custody arrangement, this is where you get into the idea that if there's an order in place, this is where enforcement actions come from. As much as you can, try to comply with it. I mean, if you want it modified, and here's one thing, here's a tip, that if there's an issue with your order, you don't want to really find yourself not complying with it and then going to court to ask for it to be modified, because you'd already be in contempt. So if there's an issue with your order, before you take action on your own just to not comply, you also may want to, have a conversation on the best way to take some action regarding what's happening to get some relief, but also not mess up your position or impair your position before the court. And now you're coming with unclean hands, because when you do any withholding of the children against the court's order, that's not a good situation to be in. So if there's a problem, you want to take the proper steps, and that I would advise that you get a consultation before doing that. So I'm going to keep checking in and providing some tips and co-parenting tips and, just temperature gauge checks on seeing how everything's going. But right now, we've got a lot of people living together, not really having an exit strategy. So I would encourage that if something, happens over the season, take immediate action. Here's a tip. Here's a tip. I'll leave you with this. If you find yourself in a scenario and it is heightened to this degree, one of the things people call me after the fact and say that there was some issue of domestic violence, but I didn't get the protective order, I didn't call the police, I didn't do anything, and now it's a few weeks later. That is just too little too late, So I know it's a tough scenario. Do you want to get law enforcement and outsiders involved? I mean, the commissioner's office in making a complaint for protective order doesn't necessarily involve the police. So you can, seek that directly. Again, call for consultation. But the timing of that is really important, because you're telling everyone there's an emergency, something bad has happened. So people expect for you to respond, because it's their fear they're trying to protect you from. So if there's an issue, if something does happen, you do find yourself in imminent fear, harm, and danger, you do need to, take action pretty quickly thereafter, okay? And if you find yourself in a situation where you think you're being set up, you think someone's just trying to set you up, I don't know. I've been having videos on a lot. You guys in those situations need body cams. That's what you need every time you walk around the house, to be on guard against anyone falsely claiming that you have assaulted them. In those situations, also to take immediate action to make sure that you are safeguarded and protected from frivolous protective orders and claims. So those are my tidbits for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving, that you take care of yourself, have your wellness plan to overcome any blitz, any obstacles, so that you can enjoy a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. And I will be checking in with you guys soon. And have a happy Thanksgiving, and giving thanks and appreciation to everyone who supported me throughout the year. Thanks so much. Take care.